Hey guys, Andres here, and welcome to another edition of Pony Express Shorts. This time we have VDo in the house, phenomenal human being, and he is talking about how to keep productivity without burning out, or how to avoid burnout in 2022. Giant topic right now because everything seems to be so stressful. A lot of things seems to be going on in the world, and so avoiding that burnout, avoiding that exhaustion, and keeping that mindfulness is going to be key to your success. If you guys want to hear the full episode, just make sure you click on the link up there and you can catch the entire conversation I had with Fee on our show. Of course, if you want to listen to other episodes or other Express Shorts, make sure you guys subscribe right here below and follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, Instagram. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. We're everywhere. Just make sure you guys follow along and keep posted on these Pony Express Shorts. Hope you guys enjoy. See you on the next one.
Here's the thing. So I'm not saying completely stop, because in my talk I talk about this, where it's this kind of self-awareness that you gotta have when you are on fire, to just even acknowledge it, to acknowledge that feeling. It all boils down to the sensations in your body, because I can get really carried away in my mind when I'm on fire. But if my mind is operating at a speed greater than what my body is capable of, then it's going to, what happened for me was I did get incredible results, but I compromised the well-being of my own health, my own body, just by redlining, literally redlining and pushing it, not taking care of my vessel. So I'm not saying to stop completely, but to, if you were a car, right, and you are to change your oil, maintain your car, if you are driving and you're cruising and you're building up all this momentum, just take a moment to continue to stay in your momentum, but to acknowledge it, to feel like, what does that momentum feel like? To give myself that self gratification of, man, I'm producing, I'm doing really well, to acknowledge oneself and then continue to move forward. I think that is a very subtle distinction between just, what happened for me was just getting lost in the momentum and just reaching and not really having that connection between my mind and my body. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oof. Ooh. Ooh. Yes. That the car analogy just makes sense because I just dropped $3,000 to fix my car because I drove it so long that it like couldn't handle it. So literally, I get it because you're
Bro,
still making your way on the road trip, but that doesn't. You should still turn your car off for a second, give it a minute to just cool down, and then go back again.
and that, this car metaphor, analogy, whatever that is, but it's the really the core of my talk. And the title of it is called All Gas, No Brakes. Not like a car brake, but like BREAK, no brakes. A
Clever.
road to mindfulness. And I literally just, throughout the whole talk, the thread is that comparison to, if you were a car yourself, how would you drive your own car? And that's where I
Ooh.
thought, I think I did a really good job of kind of using some of these car examples where I share a story of like literally driving myself almost off a cliff, flipping my car 2 times, nearly dying because I just fell asleep at the wheel by pushing myself to that absolute brink of, to zero gas.
Dude. Dude, that's a crazy story. So you literally that's yeah happened to you, or you were working so hard. You was this while you were
It
selling
happened.
books?
This was actually not when I was selling books, actually. This was after selling books. So there's still qualities of it that kind of carried and lingered through, but I had
Oh,
been pushing myself in that same sense of, kind of the same mentality of like, I can go a little bit longer. I can do that. And I remember like going on this drive. It was like a 2 hour drive back home. It was after a 24-hour stint of just amazing, right? Like I wasn't even partying. I was just like doing acknowledgement circles and just having all these social activities. And by the end of it, I was like, okay, it's just 2 hour drive. I can go home. And it's that little moment. Had I just paused to just be like, man, I'm actually, if I stop for a quick minute and listen to my body, I'm pretty dang exhausted. I should at least take a nap. But I was just like, so my mind automatically responded like, no, you got this. Keep, it's that whole constantly, I'm like, I was just like so
yeah.
easy to lean towards automatic yes, that that was what happened, and I ended up nearly killing myself because of that.
Is this story in your TEDx talk?
It is.
Okay, so we won't
What
spoil
I'm
it.
hoping for.
That'll be a story for another time. That'll be a story for another time. But
There's yeah, there's I mean I open up with that story, so I talk a bit about it and share what happened, but I think it proves the point, the main
yeah.
point that yeah, just didn't know
Yeah,
when to stop.
because like you were saying, like you had just spent 24 hours of awesomeness. It wasn't like you were spending 24 hours at a funeral or getting out of the hospital from another thing and then you drove home, which a lot of people would be like, "Well, you're tired or you're angry or you don't do that or you're, you know." No, you're coming off a high. That's like going to Sizzler or this coming August, if you go to BIZZLER and you have these really cool 5 days of meeting with a bunch of really cool alumni and having a lot of fun, and then you land back at your hometown and then you're gonna drive 2 hours home, that would make sense why that's not a good idea. Because you're coming off such an adrenaline, dopamine, serotonin high that your body doesn't almost want to acknowledge that, hey, we're this is gonna run out, and that when this runs out, it's a cliff, literally and figuratively. Wow, that's such an interesting thought. I've never thought about this before. I've never thought about this, the pause. It's almost like exhaustion from too much good.
That's a trip, right? And that's where again, everybody is so different. I know their journeys. Some people can compare it to mine. My personality type. I'm like an adventurer, right? I'm a for Enneagram followers. I'm a hard 7, right? So I just would love to like explore that, and I think people can really resonate with that. So, but not everybody is. I'm sure people are listening to this and it's like, can't relate to it. So I'm just kind of sharing from my own experience of what it was like for me to really understand how I operate.
That's so good. The way I also think about it, if you don't mind me commentating on it or whatever, but like the way I think about it is kind of like when people who fall in love or like get too crazy about someone too fast. Do you know what I'm talking?
Yeah.
Like we have all that friend that like buddy comes home after meeting a girl. She's perfect. She's this. What did I say? I always said that my perfect woman was gonna like Lord of the Rings. Well, she quoted Gollum, and you're like, okay. But I also said that my perfect woman was gonna be blah blah blah, and she like all these things are perfect. The honeymoon stage, and then like within a couple months they want to marry them or something. Which again, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not saying true love doesn't exist like that. I'm not trying to say that, but a lot of times that same friend of yours who's met that person, you have to be like, hey, hold on, stop for a second, slow down. Are you? I mean, look, think for a moment. It's kind of like that. I feel like too, like
Yeah.
that this idea of like infatuation with something or someone or an idea even, and just all the gas that you put into it that you stop focusing on like the reality of it. It's kind of the old adage of Southwestern. It's never as good as it seems, and it's never as bad as it seems. It's probably somewhere in the
Mhm.
middle. Pause and take a look.
Yeah. And you get to acknowledge those feelings too, because it's true, right? If you are feeling those feelings of infatuation for someone, that's happening in your body. That is a fact. That is true. Now, months down the road, I think like maybe because this is like a novel experience, you're seeing someone for the first time. I know that is makes it easier for our body to become triggered by the novelty. But months down, if you are that's where it's becomes more of a practice because it's so easy for us to have those kinds of reactions and be addicted, not yearn for them, but then to be able to like I think like being in relationship, for example, with somebody and being in partnership, marriage, that's where I think like the whole mind body connection is really really important to then be able to listen to your body, listen to these reactions, listen to what is real and what can you do to enhance your relationship. And that's like when it comes to mindfulness, that's like my truth. Like what can I do to really listen to my body? Because that never lies. It always tells me how I'm feeling. So that's kind of my compass.